Hi, Coach. Kyle Nagel from the Dayton Daily News. Alex mentioned you got guys from a couple different countries on your team. Just kind of wondering how that all came together for you, and is it been a recruiting focus, or did it just kind of work out that way?
No, we do have guys from different countries. When you look at Alex Garcia Mendoza from Mexico, he came from Northeastern Junior College out in Colorado. We had a previous player from out there, Shane Edwards, played for us 2 and 3 years ago. And had a lot of success for us. He was first-team All-League his senior year. He's been playing in the NBDL the last couple years, and so that was a connection. Also, Marlo, who's from Brazil, played junior college ball in Midland, where we had a connection with Joe Golding, knowing the people from out there and being a West Texas guy. And I've coached in Texas for a long time as well, so it was more of a connection thing. We also have a couple young men from Canada, Tremar and Eric Keeby, Tremar Sutherland, Eric Keeby.
Hi, Coach. I'm Marilyn Garcia from USA Today. How do you go from 8-22 to the NCAA Tournament?
Good question. We had some misfortune last year as a basketball team. Mike Smith, in our first conference game, unfortunately blew his knee out, and he was a senior, an excellent player for us. And that was the first conference game of the year. We played an 18-game conference schedule at that time, 17 games left, and we didn't handle the adversity very well as a team. And, as every coach in the country talks about, you're only as good as how you handle adverse situations. I don't care if it's Duke winning the national championship a year ago. I mean, they faced a lot of adverse situations along the way and handled those in a very positive way. But we didn't handle it very well last year. We had 5 juniors on that team. Those guys recommitted when the season was over, led by Solomon and Alex. And they had a great offseason with John Barron. I've got a strength coach that has been with us for 5 years. His name is John Barron, and in my opinion, he's the best strength coach in the country. And we geared everything toward toughness in the off season, and I think it's paid dividends for us. And we haven't been perfect this year by any stretch, but I think this group of guys has handled adversity in a much more positive way.
Steve, could you talk a little bit about what places you've been before in your coaching life and kind of what you've taken, from them, kind of what path you've taken to get here?
You bet. Well, I think back to I started out as a high school coach in Central Texas, took over a team that had won 2 games the previous year, and we were fortunate to have won 23 in a turnaround. And then I went to a junior college and was an assistant for a very good coach in Ken DeWeese that I learned from through 3 years. And I went and worked for Bob Marlin at Pensacola Junior College right after they won the national championship. And it's kind of a small world type thing where he's now the head coach at Lafayette in our league, and a great coach that I was able to learn from there. And I also worked for Scott Schumacher at Kilgore Junior College in East Texas and learned a lot from him as well. And then went back to McLennan, where I'd played, been an assistant. We were fortunate in my second year there to go to the National Junior College Tournament. McLennan hadn't been there in 22 years, and we went there in '98, so felt like that was a very good accomplishment for our program, much like this is for us at this time. But I've been fortunate to be at Arkansas Little Rock for 11 years now. Porter Moser hired me in 2000 from McLennan. We took over a situation where they had only won 4 games the year before, and as I mentioned, those other coaches that I've been fortunate to work for, Porter did a great job in getting the mindset of those guys turned. We won 18 games that first year, 18 the second, 18 the third, and he went to Illinois State, and I was fortunate to be able to stay due to Chris Peterson and our administration. And during our time, we've won 4 division championships, and those are great accomplishments for our student athletes and our program, but we haven't been able to take that next step. And 2 years ago, felt like we had a good chance going in with a 23-8 record, and we were 11-3 in true road games, and had 4 seniors, and just didn't play real well in our semifinals of the conference tournament. But that's the thing I'm most proud of with this group. This group of seniors, those 5 guys, have been really good, as I mentioned earlier, throughout the offseason, and they don't care who gets the credit. I mean, they're about being a part of something bigger than themselves, as evident with our play over the last 4 games.
Initial thoughts on UNC Asheville, and how similar do you think you two guys are, because you're pretty guard dependent on scoring?
Well, I think they've got 2 premier guards. When you look at Dickey and Prim, I mean, those guys can really score at averaging 15 and 14 a game. Both of them can shoot the ball 37 and 35% from three-point line. You know they're extremely well coached. I mean, the job that Eddie's done over a number of years. And they force a lot of turnovers. We've got to have good value of the basketball tomorrow night. They can, as evident with them forcing Coastal Carolina into 21 turnovers in the championship game. They're very sound defensively. Anytime you only give up 41% from the floor for a season, especially when you look at the schedule that those guys played, having played Georgetown, Ohio State, North Carolina, Auburn, those people, and then throughout conference play, you know they're sound defensively. And I haven't been able to see but a couple game tapes on them with the quick turnaround. But you know, anytime you've got really good guard play, that's number one. And then they've got a number of guys that play their roles extremely well. I mean, Williams is a great shot blocker. Stevenson can get the ball to the paint. And they've got guys that can get to the foul line. We know we've got to be very sound in our transition defense and our half-court defense, and we've got to be able to rebound the ball.
I know you can't anticipate nervousness, and is there really any prevention from what's going to happen when you guys haven't been here before and you first step on the floor, and the bigness of the moment, other than maybe calling an early timeout? What do you do to try and combat what I assume you expect to happen in the first few minutes?
You know, good question. My big point to our guys, and obviously we're excited to be here. I mean, anytime, you know, you've got 5 seniors and you want those guys to enjoy each and every moment. But these guys are driven and want to keep their season going. I mean, they want to continue to play as Asheville does. And I don't think our group is going to be satisfied with just being here. And I think they're going to play with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Obviously, they're going to have some nerves to them, but we've been in situations before, you know, where you're down in games and where you've had to handle some adversity. You know, facing a team like Asheville, I mean, there are going to be runs in this game, and we've got to handle those in a positive way.